Thank you to the Vinik sisters, Emily and Kaylin Vinik, for the intro. Welcome, everybody, to episode 5 of The League, Inside the League. I'm Mon Valley Independent sports editor Jeremy Salou. To my right is...
Assistant sports editor Jose Negron.
Jose? It was a big week in the old league this week. Some great games.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of a shake-up here in the standings, especially in the boys division. Yes. So it's going to be an exciting final week of the regular season as we get prepared for the inaugural playoffs in the Mon Valley Independent Summer Basketball
And the most exciting thing for this week, all you fans out there, come on back to the gym. We're allowed to have our fans back. It's going to be great to see everybody. And I think we did all right, but we are nixing the live broadcast, so we will not be streaming live on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So we will go back to posting the video of the games the following day. But yeah, we will not be doing live commentary, which kind of makes our job easier, not that we didn't enjoy it.
Right, yeah, it definitely makes our job easier to just focus on our game stories and just focus on doing stats and stuff for the different games. But, thank you to everybody who tuned in and gave us feedback and gave us comments during, the broadcasts. We received some really good feedback on, the things that we did, and thank you to everybody that joined us alongside us, Joe Sabalak, Laura Grimm, Veda Epps, Kevin Kovac, everybody who helped become a part of our live broadcast and made it that much better.
And I think one of the biggest things we want to see is we miss our coaches. So come on up to the gym, watch your players. I know South Allegheny coach Tony DeCenzo said he wanted to come up. Mm-hmm. I gave Bill Cleary the rundown of all the Sarah Catholic girls that are in the league, so maybe we'll get to see him. Might even have another appearance from Laura Grimm. Mm-hmm. So it would be great to see everybody up there. If the coach is there, pop in, say hi. We look forward to getting back to the action and having the fans there for sure.
Right, absolutely. And like we said, it's going to be a very exciting week. There are some playoff spots up for grabs in both divisions, and it's going to be a good way to end the regular season.
Absolutely. I mean, just looking at the standings, obviously we'll start out with the recapping the week in the girls division. AMD running away. I mean, 8-0. They need 2 wins this week to clinch a undefeated regular season. But State Farm's at 6-2. But then you look at that 3rd and 4th spot, and we're coming down to the wire here with Menneson Flores and Lee Supply. And guess what our 8 o'clock game is on Monday night?
Right.
Menneson Flores and Lee Supply.
And we talked to Chad Corrado about it. This might be their biggest game of the season. They got to get a win here. They also have State Farm on Thursday. So if they are able to get a victory over Lee Supply, maybe give them a 2-game lead. They could actually clinch a playoff spot with Edward Jones' loss as well. So,
right.
Definitely going to be a big week for MoFlo.
Right. I mean, they do have that 2-game lead over 5th place Edward Jones right now, but anything can happen. I mean, one player might not show up or something like that, so you never know what could happen in the summer league for sure. And then looking at the boys division, look at that 3-way tie. We had a great game Thursday night. Farmers Insurance beat B Graphics. Howard Hanna's right in there after a big win this week. So all 3 of those teams are sitting 6-2, sitting atop the division. Then there's a battle for the 4th spot there as well as Campy's Pizza and Elite Physical Therapy. So and Campy's just beat Elite. Mm-hmm. I think last week. So
right.
It's going to be an interesting week coming ahead, and then we got the playoffs. I'll be there for Monday and Tuesday and hand over the reins to you for Wednesday and Thursday. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to a great week.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of recapping last week's matchups, obviously on Monday started out with Lee Supply, Edward Jones, and Lee Supply was able to avenge an early season loss to Edward Jones. Had 3 players in double figures: Gracie Fairman with 19, Jenna Dawson with 13, Abby Whaley, I believe, had a double in that game, 10 big points, I believe 12 or 13 rebounds, and Alyssa Clutter, who is now the league's leading scorer, had 20 points in Edward Jones's loss. AMD Industries, Menneson Flores in that second game, and AMD Industries, a big second half effort that you covered, Jeremy.
And actually, when we were going over the game at halftime, I said, this is a close game now. I said, but AMD is one of these teams, they could be up by 20 within 5 minutes, and sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And it was the same way for the Lee Supply Edward Jones game. I mean, big 36-17, Lee Supply outscored Edward Jones,
right? And
it was 32-16 in the AMD Menneson Flores game. Another big game for Eden Williamson, 16 points. And then looking at the final game, I mean, State Farm just had their way with Cedarbrook, a 66-38 win. But again, Ella Kupka, I mean, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, this freshman from Brentwood is the real deal, and hopefully we'll see some coaches up there taking an early look at her, what she's been able to do. I think we'll get to it on Wednesday's game. I think she was just unbelievable, 17 rebounds or something absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, she's really emerged onto the scene as a star, a future star really, and a present star really in this league. Some very talented freshmen. Obviously Hannah Pugliese from Menneson Flores as well, but she has really Ella Kupka has really kind of taken the role as maybe the top scorer on the State Farm team. 15 points in that win over Cedarbrook, matching Emma Cito, her teammate from Brownsville. Chloe Portash from Sarah Catholic added 14. And then on the Cedarbrook side, a team that has had its struggles but has had some bright spots as well. Katie Hoff from Our Lady of Sacred Heart has been probably the brightest spot, 11 points in that loss. Amanda Bedzik from Elizabeth Forward, another freshman in the league, with 10.
For sure. And we'll jump right into Wednesday's games. State Farm with a narrow 54-46 win. Again, Lee Supply actually led at the half, but State Farm jumped out behind the great effort from Ella Kupka, and Emma Cito ended up finishing with 14 points. I think she had like 9 rebounds too. But again, it was the same 3 for Lee Supply, three girls in double figures led by TJ's Gracie Fairman. It was good to see Coach Fairman in the building again. Jasmine Fisher had 11 points. Jenna Dawson also had 11 from Bell Vernon.
Right.
And then looking ahead, AMD Industries and Edward Jones. I mean, what a defensive effort by AMD Industries. I mean, 7 points allowed in the second half. And I talked to Coach Rathway after the game, and she even said we set a goal to only allow them 10, and we did better than that. But again, it was another breakout game for Tasia Troxler-Scott. I mean, she got a start after a great performance on Monday, and she ended up leading the way with 13 points. She had, I think, 3 or 4 steals, good rebounding effort. She's just been arguably one of their best players.
Yeah. And we talked about Bria Rathway. She talked about it after the game, rewarding Troxler-Scott for that great effort that she showed on Monday, and she rewarded her with the start. And Troxler-Scott was able to come up big for her team in a game where there wasn't a lot of offense. You got 2 of the top scorers on AMD's team, Eden Williamson and Kaylin Vienick. Neither of them were even in double figures. Might have been the first time all season that neither.
They were close, but they weren't there.
Right.
I think all in all 8 players scored. They had their whole roster. 11 girls were there, and they were subbing in 5 out. And it was like I mentioned in the story, it was more like line 1A and line 1B. I mean,
we
they
talked
were
about
both
that
full
on the
of
broadcast as well. Yeah, and it's just it shows you how good this AMD team is, because they can outscore you. I mean, if they have a bad defensive night and you give up maybe 50 plus points, they can score 60 and still win by double figures. But they can also play some really, really stingy defense as well.
Well, and one of the things that needs to improve, though, is the free throw shooting.
Yeah.
I know the whole coaching staff is up in arms about their free throw shooting, so I'm sure that's something that we'll try to correct. And looking at the final game on Wednesday, it was Menneson Flores with a big 53-40 win, and like we said, combined with the Edward Jones loss, that vaults them ahead a little bit more for that fourth playoff spot. Anna Sloan with an 11-point night. Hannah Pugliese again, 10, and I think she had a double-double too. And then Emily Vienick with 10. Emily Vienick's another one who's really started scoring a little bit more while she is the leader on the team.
Yeah.
She's actually come through with key baskets at times. And again, it was Katie Hoff for Cedarbrook leading the way with 16. I know Lena Laurent, another one of their high draft picks, was not there. So it kind of put him in the hole a little bit. But yeah, I mean, overall recapping the week in the girls, I mean, it was very impressive. There were a lot of different girls stepping into leadership roles for their teams, whether it's scoring, defense. But I think the story of the week, honestly, is the emergence of Kupka again, just what she's been able to do.
Yeah, and talking to Tommy Rodriguez, I mean, he's still on her about trying to play better defense and things like that, but you can't deny just how good she's been offensively. 18 points there in that victory over Lee Supply, and I think she had 17 rebounds to go along with that too. So she was just everywhere on the court, and she's really emerged, like I said, as the top scorer on this team. And but she has a lot of talent around her too. So State Farm, in the playoffs, they're every year they're a team to beat. So we'll see how it goes.
And I hate to bring it up to Coach Rathway and AMD, but it's kind of mirroring last year when AMD kind of handed State Farm their luggage and told them to get out all season long, and then they get to the championship game and State Farm ends up winning the championship. So I know that's something that is in the back of Coach Rathway's mind, but this AMD team feels a little different than last year's.
Yeah, I don't know if this team is going to let that happen 2 years in a row, to be honest.
No. So, yeah, I mean, to wrap up the girls' week, go ahead and let's take a look at the Power 5. We got some new leaders in the clubhouse.
We do. New scoring leader, as I mentioned before, Alyssa Clutter now leading the way with 118 total points this season. She has a 2-point lead over her Trinity teammate from AMD, Kaylin Vienick, another Trinity player in third, a sophomore in Eden Williamson, Hannah Pugliese in fourth, and Gracie Fairman rounding out the top 5 and fifth from Lee Supply.
And I'm not to cut you off, but I will say this. We got asked a lot about what moving the league to Court Time Sports Center really did to us, and look at this. Look at the top 5 scorers in the league right here. 4 out of the 5 are new players.
Yeah,
we're at a more centralized location. That just shows the growth of the league and how the league has expanded its reach.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at the talent of these players, I think they can probably outscore a couple of the guys in the boys league. So, these are just really, really talented young players, all guards. And like you said, I mean, who knows if Hannah Pugliese would be in the league if it wasn't in the area that it's in, coming all the way from Penn Hills, and even Gracie joining from Thomas Jefferson. So it's been huge to be able to get some of these new players into the league and to have just so much talent that we do. Hannah Pugliese also is actually leading the league in rebounds. Eden Williamson in second, Ella Kupka from State Farm in third, Katie Hoff from Cedarbrook in fourth, and Abigail Whaley from Lee Supply in fifth. Emily Vienick leading the way in assists, and Gracie Fairman leads the league in steals.
It's funny, I'm looking at the rebounding stats, and that's Kupka's second 17 rebound game of the season. That's just a phenomenal stat.
And you look at some of the other girls that are on this list, nobody else has more than 12 in a game. Right. So Kupka has really had those 2 big games that have kind of catapulted her near the top of the leaderboard in that stat.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick break. We're going to show you our top 5 images of the week from our photographers Jen Caudalupi and Ben Bamford. And we'll get right back to wrap up the boys' week. And we are back. Great job by Jen Caudalupi and Ben Bamford, as always, for the camera jockeying that they do.
Yeah, they always make our work look a little prettier, a little nicer. Yeah, so we appreciate their efforts. Always, their work never goes unappreciated.
And we're going to take a look at the boys league. We already talked about it. We touched on it a little bit. Boy, the first 3 spots are a mess, man.
I don't think in our years of even covering the Greb League has there ever been this much of a cluster going into the final week of the regular season.
Yes. I mean, again, Farmers Insurance 6-2, B Graphics 6-2, Howard Hanna 6-2. Farmers Insurance said those 2 losses are just because they didn't have enough players.
Right, every game
have beat everybody on the floor.
Right, every game that they have actually played, they have won. Even when they played elite physical therapy and they brought Gavin Flowers into the game
right.
just to play, they still won that game. So Farmers, whether they have 5 guys or whether they have 10, they're still the most dominant team in this league. Yeah.
Looking at Tuesday's games, a great opener. B Graphics and Campy's Pizza. B Graphics comes away with a 2-point win, 60-58. Again, Rodney Gallagher just doing his thing with 33 points. Some good balance with Campy's Pizza with Traveris Rowe from McKeesport with 13, Meach Butler with 13, and Brandon Patterson with 12. But that loss dropped Campy's Pizza to 2-5, and they're going to have to play to get into that playoff spot.
Right, and another loss of less than 4 points.
Yes.
That's driven Naz Victoria crazy all year. I think out of their 5 losses, I think 4 of them have been by less than 4 points. Yes. So they're in a really tough spot here at 3-5, but they are tied there with Elite Physical Therapy, and we'll talk a little bit about how they got there on Thursday.
And looking at the second game on Tuesday, it was Howard Hanna with a 3-point win over Elite Physical Therapy. Great game was played by Elite in that game. Bryce Epps with 31 big points kept his team in it. But at the very end, Keandre DeShields finished with 16, Isaiah Mosley with 14, Makai Valentine with 12, Cam Rodney with the 10. And we talked a little bit about this Howard Hanna team that no matter who they play, they're going to be in the game. They have a lot of balance, a lot of scoring, great coaching from Matt Loftus.
Yeah, and in that game, a little bit of adversity that Howard Hanna, endured, and they were able to overcome that. In the second half, they had a really big run that kind of gave them the advantage, but then, they took their foot maybe off the gas pedal a little bit and got into a position where they had to hit some clutch free throws there at the end. But talk about Bryce Epps and what he was able to do too for Elite Physical Therapy. 31 points from him. He's been their team MVP all year, and he's really, as he's gone, Elite Physical Therapy's gotten better.
Looking at the final game, it was Farmers Insurance with an 84-79 win. I think they only had 5 players.
Yeah.
Did they only have 5?
I believe they had 5.
But they did have 5. Gavin Flowers was on the bench, but since he's technically an eligible player, he didn't come in. Caleb Palumbo, 27 points. Devin Whitlock, 22. Robert Robertson, 21. Anytime you get 3 guys with over 20 points,
I think you're set.
Probably in good shape.
And then Hunter Assad added 14 as well.
Right. Some clutch 3-point shooting, and you have to feel for head coach Kevin Kovac and Union Cleaners. They have been in, I think, every game but one this year. And again, it was Farmers, pulling away at the very end of the game there for the 84-79 win.
Right.
Union Cleaners poured 48 points in the second half, and they hit a lot of threes. Logan Wright led the way with 19, Nate English with 15, Colton Kovac with 12, and Shane McGraw with 10, McKeesport sophomore. So
yeah, I think when you score 79 points, I think you expect to win.
Yeah.
But that just shows the type of talent that Farmers has on this team. I mean, obviously we knew, for the last couple of years of seeing Devin Whitlock, we know what he brings. We know he's going to get his points every game, and even if he's not getting his points, he's contributing, making other guys better. And I really think that his distribution of the ball, of getting it in Palumbo's hands, getting it in Robinson's hands. He's made guys around him better, and just when they have the guys there,
Right.
Farmers Insurance is obviously the top team to beat.
Absolutely. That takes us into Thursday, and again, Union Cleaners, they just let it get away. Howard Hanna comes away with a 61-56 win. Isaiah Mosley and Keandre DeShields each with 18. Nate English with 23. Colton Kovac with 12 for Union Cleaners. I covered this game. Union Cleaners had a 7-point lead with 3 minutes to go, and they end up not scoring again from the 3-minute mark.
Yeah,
a 12-0 run. 12-0 run for Howard Hanna, capped off by a great defensive effort from Mosley, especially Coach Loftus pointed out. His athleticism was just too much, especially when they started to trap. His length really bothered Union Cleaners.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Coach Kovac is kind of beside himself.
Yeah, you got, like you said, I mean, you got to feel for this group because they've been in every game. They have they're 0-8, but these guys come out every night, trying to get that one win. These are a lot of these guys won a title last year.
Absolutely.
They're members of that championship team, so they want to win games. They want to come out every night and give the opposing teams everything they have, and they've done a really good job. It's just they've really fallen short.
Yeah. I definitely feel for him, but I mean, you look at Howard Hanna, just the way they showed that their ability to come back, and you mentioned it, and Matt Loftus mentioned it too, is they tend to take their foot off the gas with like a 7 to 9 point lead instead of taking it off the gas with a 15 or 17 point lead. But and they played that game without Daniel Gordon, so they didn't have one of their best shooters, but they made up for it, and they got good contributions from everybody else on the team. Even though they only had the 2 players in double figures, they still got good big shots by Easton McDaniel. I know fell, so they have the balance.
Yeah, come playoff time, if this team has a full bench and has everybody contributing, I really think that they're going to be dangerous. I think that they can contend with Farmers and they can contend with B Graphics, in come playoff time here.
Taking a look at the second game, it was Campy's Pizza 59, Elite Physical Therapy 42, and Campy's Pizza got that big head-to-head win that they're going to need.
Yeah.
Looking ahead, I mean, both teams sitting at 3-5 right now, but with that win, Campy's Pizza vaults into that last playoff spot. Demetrius Butler with 18, Will Wagner. We talked early in the year about how he was going to need to improve his play a little bit, and he has the last few weeks. He had 16. Brandon Patterson had 12. Elite again, it was Bryce Epps with 22 and Shea Champagne with 11.
Right.
But the biggest thing is it was Campy's jumped out to a huge lead and was just able to keep their foot on the gas and keep enough distance to pull out the win.
Yeah, and that was a must. If there was any game that it was a must-win for Campy's Pizza, it was that one, and they were able to come away with it. 10-point lead there at halftime, and it seems like at times this year when Campy's would have a slight lead, they would kind of lose a bit of momentum and throughout the game, but it seems like they kept their foot on the gas pedal throughout and were able to get a crucial victory that now puts them maybe even one step ahead of Elite Physical Therapy, even though they're tied in the standings.
You know what the difference has been for Campy's Pizza? The
Billy,
return of Billy Greco,
yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Billy Greco returning to the bench to kind of rein Naz Victoria in a little bit kind of helps. And like Billy said, it's just like a home game in football. An assistant coach is good for at least 4 more points a game.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that was obvious that we both knew that was
we both
what
knew that
the
was the
difference
difference. And finally, the best game of the week. The score doesn't say it was the best game of the week. It was Farmers Insurance 88, B Graphics 76. It features the quietest 41-point game ever.
Yes.
In the history of basketball. I'm going to stamp it right now.
Maybe it's quiet because we've expected this from Rodney Gallagher every game. We expect him to just do amazing things. And scoring 74 points in 2 games last week, I think that's something. Okay, yeah. I mean, it's Rodney.
Yeah,
it's Rod doing Rod. It's what he does.
But he wasn't even the biggest star in this game. Yeah. I mean, star power wise, yes. Mm-hmm. But Tayshawn Levy for Farmers Insurance was unconscious. I was at home typing my story from the Howard Hanna game, watching the game and listening to the broadcast, and it sounds like Tayshawn Levy only missed maybe 2 shots in the whole game, and they weren't until the end. The Wash High product finished with 32 points. Devin Whitlock with 17, Robert Robertson with 13, Hunter Assad with 12, Caleb Palumbo with 12. I mean, 5 players in double figures led by Levy, who's, if you were going to tell me one of these guys was going to throw 32, Levy might have been my third choice to pick who it would have been.
Yeah, maybe.
But, yeah, I mean, it was a great game for them. Farmers Insurance pulls into a tie now. I think they handed B Graphics their 2 losses, so they pretty much are going to clinch the first seed with a win. I think with a win this week or Tuesday against Campies, they should clinch the first spot.
I think a big factor in this game too was there was no Braden Reynolds.
Right, that is a big factor.
I think that if Braden Reynolds plays in this game, B Graphics might score 100 or close to 100 and might win that game.
I don't know.
You never know. I mean, we haven't seen the thing is we have not seen Rodney Gallagher, Trey Champagne, Quentin Martin, and Braden Reynolds all on the same court at the same time. When that happens, I don't know if there's what the balance is going to be like in terms of scoring. If it's going to be like Farmers in terms of balance, but it might. I think Braden Reynolds. I mean, he's averaging 21 points per game.
Yeah.
I think he makes a huge impact in that game if he's there, and hopefully B Graphics can get him, here for this final week of the regular season and in the playoffs.
And I'm sure they will. And that kind of, you never want to look ahead to a potential championship game matchup.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, everybody out there needs to get to that gym for that championship game because it's going to be phenomenal.
And it might feature 2 100-point teams. I mean,
you never know.
You just never know. I mean,
because those teams are going to go back and forth and up and down.
Absolutely.
Just like they did in this game.
Yeah.
It was answer for answer. I know there was a couple big, I think I saw Champagne hit a 3, and then Whitlock comes right down and hits a 3. So
it might not be about defense. It might just be who scores the most points.
Right. Who has the ball last.
Well, obviously it's who scores the most points. But,
But yeah, I mean, Coach Tyree has said it. I think week 1 they did have everybody there. But, ever since then, that first game of the season, they haven't had their full complement of players.
Yeah.
So you're right. Braden Reynolds does make a difference in that game. Is it a 12-point difference? Possibly, because if he scores more, Farmer's going to get the ball. That's more possessions.
Right,
so
right.
You never know. It's going to be a great atmosphere here as the week of the regular season, winds down and we get into the playoffs. Like I said, I'm off on Wednesday, but I'll be at the games. I might even be at Thursday's games. I don't know.
Right.
Just watching as a fan and not doing this job, it's a whole different perspective.
Yeah, and I think this week, we have so many huge games. I think the game of the week is probably going to be that B Graphics Howard Hanna game.
I agree.
On Tuesday. Obviously, that's a game in which one team will stay in first place and another team will move into second, and Farmers has Campies, so Campies might be able to pull off an upset, and we might only have one team at the top.
And they might, because that game is is usually always a close game when them 2 teams play.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's one of those rivalries that we kind of talked about. How over the last couple of years they really developed one, a friendly rivalry, full of respect, and it's going to be exciting to see what transpires. Of course, Union Cleaners Elite Physical Therapy is in that 9 p.m. game on Tuesday, and then kind of wrapping up the week. B Graphics Union Cleaners at 7, Elite Physical Therapy Farmers at 8, and Campy's Pizza and Howard Hanna in the final regular season
that should
game.
Be another good
game at 9 o'clock on Thursday.
So we'll take a look real quick at the scoring leaders, and obviously, like you said, 74 points in 2 games this week. Rodney Gallagher are kind of running away with the scoring title here in the boys division, averaging a minute 28 points per game.
It's
yeah, that's a lot.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Braden Reynolds, despite missing the last 2 games, he's still averaging over 20 points. He's the only other player with 21.3. Bryce Epps with a big week with 53 total points. He's up to a 19.6 per game average. Caleb Palumbo there for Farmers, 18.7. And Howard Hanna's Keandre DeShields is at 17.6. But again, just looking at the sheet real quick, you got 17, 18, maybe close to 20 guys averaging in double figures in this league. And again, we talk about the point of the league and moving it and being a centralized location. There's so much talent, and that's why all these games are competitive. It's just phenomenal to watch every night. And then again, that's why the fans they get a good show when they come to these games, and that's why we really want to see the gym. Gym full.
I think now with this announcement, I think the gym's going to be pretty packed, full of fans now, and we're excited to have them back in it. I think that this is going to make our choice for all-star teams a little
very difficult.
Yeah.
Me and Chad Corrado talked about the girl side and how it's going to be done and everything, and we'll look at how it was done in the past and do it again. I mean, do you put your MVP first and second team? Do you maybe do a third team? I mean, there's just so much talent to pick from. Everybody needs their due, but there are those that are still above others. So of course we'll make sure we get the recognition and everything, and it's going to be great. I'm pretty sure we announced this championship night in between the two games. We announced the all-star team, so it'll be fun.
If you were to pick right now, I mean, is it a consensus that Rodney Gallagher is the league MVP? Because in my opinion, I think it's yes.
I think it would be yes, because if you take 28 points a game away from B Graphics, that's tough.
And the fact that he's only missed one game.
Right.
He's been there every single night and has put up huge numbers every single night.
Absolutely. And we started discussing the girls' leagues even harder to pick because you got so many girls that are playing an intricate role in their teams. It's going to be hard to pick, and we had different picks, but we kind of agreed with each other on who the MVP would be.
We discussed Ella Kupka kind of getting into the mix there.
She's in
obviously
the mix as a freshman. We talked about obviously Kaylin Vienick at the top of the scoring race.
Right.
But I mentioned Eden Williamson.
Right. And maybe do you consider Hannah Pugliese from Menneson Forest?
Maybe.
Do you consider Alyssa Clutter for what she's been able to do for Edward Jones?
Right.
Even if Edward Jones falls short of a playoff berth, she's done so much for that team to kind of get them into even the discussion for.
It's the first time they won a game in 2 years.
Right.
So. But yeah, there's a lot to look through as we go on. Into the final week of the regular season. It's going to be exciting. We're looking forward to it. We got to give our thank yous always to our director, Chad Corrado, our assistant director, Kenzie Salou. I know you.
Hey, Curly Sue.
For Jen and Ben for always being tops on the camera, and Mike Darnay be back in the mix this week. Matt Wobrack for filming, Rachel Wobrack for doing the stats.
Jamie Reeder for
filming.
Farrah Reeder for filming a game. She filmed a game.
She did
on Wednesday. So thank you to everybody who has chipped in and helped make these broadcasts what they are. Thank you to you, Jeremy. For leading the crew. Being our fearless leader. Appreciate it. I think we make a pretty good team. So
sometimes, we're sad to see the live broadcast go. But I'm not going to lie, it's going to make our jobs a little easier. We'll still be there. Stop in, say hi. We had some parents approach us this week telling us what a great thing we were doing. And we're not in it for the recognition. It's about these kids. Right. It's about these players. That's what we want. Other than that, I'm looking forward to a final week. I'm not going to lie. I'm looking forward to a few days off.
I'll take the reins. I'll make you proud.
I almost trust you with them, so we're almost there.
Almost.
We're good to go. Our little assistant director's telling us to cut it off, so we will do that. But I think that's it.
Yeah, thank you all for tuning in to episode 5 of Inside the League, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Uh-oh. We're about to get told. All right, cut. Cut. Done.